Hi there, my name is Jason Smith and I go to the University of the Cumberlands in Williamsburg, Kentucky. I'm making this video to help you with your jazz audition on the piece Sanguine Swing by Jamie Simmons for the vibes. 1, 2, 3, 4. For this piece, I want to use graduated. I want to use a softer 1 and then 2, 3, 4 of the same type. That way, if you need to bite down on the top notes, you can. But your lower note's going to be softer, and it's going to create more of an impact, especially on this piece. Okay, so for the first phrase, like I talked about in the beginning of the video, we're going to use the first 3 mallets for the chords at the top. So when you have your C sharp, D, and F sharp, you're going to want to use the 3 mallets. I use 2 on the C sharp, 3 on the D, and 4 on the F sharp. And then they'll just move down according, lowest note to highest note. Also, when you're playing the note that carries over from the end of 4 to 1 and it carries on through a whole note, so you want to make sure that note rings throughout the whole measure. So when you pedal, especially the pickup notes on the 3 and 4, and you're going to want to carry that note out, but pedal on that last note. So 3 and 4, and the pedal in between 4 and the end of 4. So, just an example in the beginning, slow. So one of the things I want to talk about here is in measure 12, when you have the whole note starting on the end of 4 of the previous measure, the half note on 2 chord, and then 3 or 4 and at the end of measure 12. Remember to always hold out the end of 4 so it carries through the whole measure. But when you hit the half note on 2, I like to choke on the end of 3 so that way the 4 and changes will come through better. So for this segment, I want to talk about measure 21. The first 2 notes, which is your quarter note and your first 8th note, are tenuto markings over top. And then the and of 2, you're going to have a staccato mark. Now, you're going to have your first 2 notes ring out, but the 3rd note on the end of 2 is going to be cut off. So you can dead stroke it, you can dampen, whatever you like to do, as long as that one is cut short. However, you don't want to play it as just muted, like so. You want it to ring out a little bit. So I like to play it with the pedal down and then dampen soon after. Ready? And 1. Okay, so for this segment, what I want to talk about is the art of basically soloing on your instrument. In measures 22, I like to bring out the top note, which is that G. So you'll hear. Okay, as it goes down chromatically, you want to go ahead and bring that out. When you go along the 16th note triplet tied to the 8th note in measures 24, you want to keep that muted just so you can worry about your hands, and you don't have to let any of those notes ring out. They'll ring out just as much as they need to. Also, in this segment, there are a few tied notes. Those notes are very important. This is swing. This is not Latin. This is not rock. So the notes that are tied out, you need to make sure there's an emphasis on. So in measures 25, it should sound like this. So you notice I brought the E natural out. You want to make sure and do that. So at the end of the piece, your D whole note is held all the way through, and you want to make sure that you pedal lightly to cut off the rest of the chords that you just played, but just enough so that D rings out and the rest of your notes melody-wise goes up. And you can still hear them to the fermata at the very end.